video we had seen first come first serve algorithm with some example. The first come first serve scheduling algorithm experience what is called as convo effect. Now what is this convo effect? The shortest CPU burst processes need to wait here, whereas the longest CPU burst processes will be executing. So this problem results in lower CPU and device utilization. So whenever we have a CPU bound process which is large enough, and we have a set of input and output process which are short enough, if we allow CPU bound process to execute, obviously it is going to take a larger time, whereas input and output process which are very short, they will finish their task quickly and wait for their chance to execute. So this is known as the convo effect. So in order to avoid convo effect, we will choose the second algorithm, shortest job first scheduling. Now here it does not mean the convo effect is not present, but it is rarely present. Now what is shortest job first scheduling means? So obviously whichever process has the shortest burst time, it is allowed to execute first. The shortest job first algorithm associate with each process the length of its next CPU burst. When the CPU becomes available, it is assigned to the process that has the smallest next CPU burst. So obviously in the ready queue, all the processes will be waiting. So whichever are available, based on that you are going to schedule whose burst time is the shortest. Here also we have non-preemptive shortest job first scheduling as well as preemptive shortest shortest remaining first job. Okay, so as I told you, when I say non-preemptive, once the CPU is given to the process, it cannot be preempted until it completes its CPU burst. Whereas in the preemptive, if a new process arrives with the burst length less than the current one, it is scheduled first. So let us take an example first for the non-preemptive shortest job first and understand how does it work. Okay. Now consider we have an example here. Now this is shortest job non-preemptive scheduling. So here you can see here I have a given set of processes and the burst time. So arrival time is not given here. So arrival time is assumed as 0. So first thing what you have to do is draw the Gantt chart. Okay, so Gantt chart is going to explain you the execution of each of the process. So at 0th second P1, so here what you are going to see, you have to see which is the shortest job. Okay, so since arrival time is not given over here, you can just choose whichever process has the shortest burst time. So which process has the shortest burst time? P4. So I will schedule P4. So it takes 3 milliseconds to complete its job. Which is the next one it will take? P1, because this is the second shortest job. So how much? 6, 9. Okay, the next one which it is? P3. So this is the next shortest job. It is 7. So 9 plus 7 is 16. Okay, and finally P2. So P2 is 8. 16 plus 8, 24. So this is how the Gantt chart will be. So whichever is the shortest burst time, that process you are going to schedule for. Now let us calculate the waiting time and turnaround time. So waiting time directly, since the arrival time is not given directly, you can find out the waiting time from the Gantt chart. So for P1 your waiting time is 0. For P1 it is how much? 3. For P2 it is 16. For P3 it is 9. And for P4 it is 0. So average waiting time is 3 plus 16 plus 9 plus 0 divided by 4. It is 7 milliseconds. Okay, so waiting time can also be calculated at turn around time minus burst time. Okay, this also can be done. Now next is turn around time. Okay, so turn around time, how do you calculate it? The completion time basically. So P1 it is 9. Yes. So P2 it is how much? 24. P3 it is 16 and P4 it is 3. Okay. So the average turnaround time is 9 plus 24 plus 16 plus 3 divided by 4. So you can find out the answer and you can just write it here, or else turnaround time can also be calculated as completion time minus arrival time. So since arrival time is not given, you can directly do it in this way.